I have received a letter from the honourable member for Bruce. Member for Bruce has a fan club. I've received a letter from the honourable member for Bruce proposing that a definite matter of public importance be submitted to the House for discussion, namely the government's failure to focus and deliver on the needs of Australians. I call upon those honourable members who approve of the proposed discussion to rise in their places. The member for Bruce has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and thanks to my colleagues for standing up. We came to this week, the dying days of this parliament, after a summer of utter chaos engulfing the government and the nation. Christmases were ruined, holidays disrupted, families separated and isolated. The testing crisis, where sick Australians queued for hours or days, trudged from chemist to chemist, desperate to get a test to protect themselves, their family and their incomes. The crisis in aged care accelerated, outbreaks across the nation. The testing infrastructure and the workforce collapsed. The supermarket shelves were emptied. You couldn't get chicken in Coles. Businesses were closed, supply chains collapsed, and the shadow lockdown took hold across most of the country. Not Western Australia, which I think the Deputy Prime Minister described as North Korea. Summer was okay over there. But it didn't have to be like this. It shouldn't have been like this. If only the Prime Minister had done his job. If he'd focused on Australians, planned, prepared and delivered. But instead, while chaos raged, the government has been consumed day by day by day, fighting, focusing on themselves, not the nation. Now, the karma bus, or truth, has finally caught up with the Prime Minister in the last few weeks. The astounding revelations of secret texts revealed, Deputy Speaker, revealing what those closest to the Prime Minister really think of him. His good friend, Gladys Berejiklian, a horrible, horrible person, more concerned with politics than people, she said about him. Well, with friends like that, who needs enemies? With friends like that, I'd hate to meet his enemies. A cabinet minister who still hasn't outed themselves over there, wanting the world to know they consider the Prime Minister, the leader of their government, a complete psycho. But the next one, Deputy Speaker, I admit, is tricky. I have to choose my words carefully under the standing orders, as the Speaker just reminded us in question time. You can't call the Prime Minister or any other member in here a liar or a fraud. Fake's okay, but it's funny, isn't it? On the front of every newspaper, on every radio station, on every television channel, it's blaring, but I can't quote precisely what the Deputy Prime Minister actually thinks about the Prime Minister. Little hint, it sounds like Fryer, the old town crier, Dunlop Tyre. Malcolm Turnbull said he had a reputation for crying. The French president, I don't think I know what he meant, and I'm not even going to try and go near what Michael Keenan said about the Prime Minister in Nicky Savva's book. You look that up for yourself, I do recommend it. But the truth is, any Australian could have written these texts. Every Australian knows well. The Prime Minister goes missing when it counts, and you can't believe a word he says. Now, it might sound strange, but this is where the government's at. The fact that they hate each other, they fight amongst themselves, that every day is like a new montage from Mean Girls is not the real problem. The Prime Minister's character, his pattern of mendacity, is not the real problem, or as Winston Churchill said, a terminological inexactitude is not the real problem. The real problem now is the impact on Australians, Deputy Speaker, and on our nation, because the Prime Minister's not doing his job. The government is focused on itself, not on governing. It's as simple and sad as that. But his pattern's well established. For every problem, it's someone else's fault. Every crisis, someone else's responsibility, and eventually, every response is too little too late, driven by politics, not people. It's the same formula, we now see it. It's gone on for long enough, you can see it. Denies and disregards, he disappears, he distracts, he deflects, he divides, and then when he acts, it's deficient and he's derelict in his duty. That's it. His denial and his disregarding is dangerous now. We saw it in the bushfires, the vaccine rollout, the rapid antigen testing crisis over summer. Didn't meet with the fire chiefs, didn't order the aircraft, the aerial bombers that they said they needed, didn't order the vaccines. He told Australians we're at the front of the queue. We never forget that. That wasn't true though, was it? Now, I'm not going to say which queue it was. It wasn't the close one, it was the far one. Wouldn't meet with the CEO of Pfizer, And he didn't order the rapid antigen tests. Every developed nation in the world had their government secure the supplies in a competitive market. He was warned. That's the common theme with all of this. He was warned on the bushfires, he was warned on the vaccines, and he was warned on the tests, and he did not learn from his mistakes. And on distribution, when he finally acted too little too late, he's chosen to put private profit over public health. Rapid antigen tests should be freely available, Deputy Speaker, on Medicare. That's how we do health in this country. He ignores the problem until it becomes a crisis. Then, after that doesn't work, he tries disappearing, hiding under the doona. Derelict. He goes missing for days or sometimes weeks, as we've seen. Saw it in the bushfires, went to Hawaii, then his office lied about it. The quarantine, the vaccines, the lockdowns, the rolling lockdowns because of the Prime Minister across most of the country, every state and territory last year, he was always nowhere to be seen at the peak of the crisis when we needed him most. And the testing, just hoping things go away. And then we get the distractions and the diversions, the photo ops, the marketing, the stunts. I've learnt before, Deputy Speaker, you might have educated me on this, you can't read those hashtags into Hansard, but Australians know what they are. It was his job to equip the fire chiefs, but it wasn't his job to force people to shake his hands in the fire zones. As Sean Kelly said, it was like a malfunctioning electronic device wandering around. It was a photo op, it wasn't a comfort visit. It's not his job in the aged care crisis to go and wash women's hair in a hair salon. It was downright creepy as well. It's not his job when kids can't get vaccinated to pretend he's a pilot or a racing car driver to distract people. It's not his job when businesses are closing from lack of tests and staff to play cricket commentator over summer. See if that distraction works for a day. We had Novak Djokovic. He manufactured that crisis. The government gave this guy a visa and then spent a week deliberately, incompetently trying to cancel it and kick him out of the country when they brought him here in the first place to break the media cycle from the testing crisis. But, oh Lord, can you only imagine what we're going to see this weekend after the week he's had? Well, you actually don't have to. They press the panic button. We saw that in question time. But 60 Minutes is up on Sunday, Deputy Speaker. The Prime Minister's going to be serving margaritas to Karl Stefanovic in the Lodge. It's the best thing since Christopher Pine had to make his own G&T in his little log cabin. But then the secret weapon, Jenny, is going to save him. Now, that's nice of her. I think it's lovely of her to do this for him. Absolutely terrific. But she could find the time, because it was only a few weeks ago we learnt that she was busy scouring every chemist in Canberra looking for rat tests, you know, or trying to find out the price of milk or bread for him. When that doesn't work, though, we go to deflection. That's DEFCON 4, deflection. He blames someone else, anyone else, for his own mistakes. It's the states, it's the premiers, it's Labor, it's the man on the moon. He's the master blame shifter. But then the final one, Deputy Speaker, eventually, when he's forced to act, it's deficient, too little, too late. We saw it on JobKeeper. Bad design, too slow. 100,000 people ended up on the unemployment queue instead of attached to their job because he didn't act when Labor told him to, and then he designed it badly, adding tens of billions of dollars to the national debt for the next generation to repay, giving it to businesses to increase their profits who did not need it. And the aged care, we heard that powerfully from the member for Hotham yesterday. 622 deaths this year alone. 1,100 homes in outbreak. The Prime Minister saw this coming. He was warned. He did nothing. The Minister went to the cricket for 3 days, yet the Prime Minister has done nothing. He won't sack the Minister. He said it's not a crisis, but then to break the media cycle before Parliament resumes, he then sends in the army. But it's not a crisis, Deputy Speaker. But make no mistake, beware. If this bloke's re-elected, if he scrapes back into power, he'll do it all over again, because that's who he is. That's what he is. And the worst weapon in his dark arsenal is not the dissembling, the deceiving, it's the division. Now, if MPs, including me, look a little worse for wear today, Deputy Speaker, it's not Boris Johnson-style parties. We were here till 5 a.m, sorting out his latest mess on religious discrimination. Instead of uniting the country for base political purposes, he uses faith communities and gay and trans children as wedges, as human shields, to divide the country. He's had 4 years to fix this, and yet we had 24 hours to consider his half-baked divisive ideas. Shame on him. Yet this morning, after the House fixed part of his mess, he was out there briefing out from his office that the effort to stop discrimination and bullying against all kids, must be stopped, even though it's 100% what he promised. Yeah. He forgets it when he writes a letter. You can read it months later. He promised he would do that. Then when he said stuff on TV, you can go back and watch it. He promised he'd do that. So committed now we find to religious protections, of course, he's just dropped them. But they always focus on themselves. And you know, we were here till 5 a.m. There's one big thing that he said he'd do that he's not done, is the National Anti-Corruption Commission. And the government says, well, there's no time. There's 8 sitting days left. So I say to the government, if you're serious about a National Anti-Corruption Commission, bring on the debate. I know that me and my colleagues, if you bring on that debate, we will be here till 5 a.m. tonight, tomorrow. We'll be here all weekend. We'll be here next week. There's 5 weeks till the budget. We will get it done if only the government had the guts to bring on the debate.